I've been looking for a little while at wearable technology. Some of these devices that allow you to be able to read text and get a description of the environment and that kind of thing from a wearable device. And there's a few of them around. There's the Envision glasses, there's the Orcam. But I've not really found anything that particularly sort of piqued my interest until recently. Some of you might be familiar with the IRA service, which puts you through to a trained agent who can give you descriptions of what's around your environment and that sort of stuff. And I am a fairly heavy user of IRA, particularly when I'm traveling. And for a long time, we haven't had a wearable option for that. I did have the old IRA glasses when they first came out, but they discontinued support for those, unfortunately. And I understand it was a bit of a headache, but still, it's a bit of a miss. So when they announced that IRA would be coming to Envision and ARX, I had a bit closer look at it and kind of got interested in the ARX Vision product because it's quite a bit cheaper than the alternatives, and I liked the idea of it. If you're familiar with bone conduction headphones, it's like that. So the headband goes around the back of your head, the earpieces sit on your cheekbones, and the sound is conducted through the bones of your skull. That means your ears are not covered. So you can wear them and still listen for traffic and approaching pedestrians and cyclists and all of those other hazards. On the right-hand arm, if you like, or the right-hand earpiece, I suppose you might call it, is a camera module, which is about the size of 2 matchboxes stacked end to end. There's 2 cameras in the end of that module. And on the side of it there's 3 buttons, a triangle, a square, and a circle. And they provide your control. Now, it's both an advantage and a disadvantage, I guess, is that the ARX is a wired solution. You have to connect it to an Android phone. There isn't any iOS compatibility at this stage. That didn't worry me because I've got an Android phone anyway for demo purposes, for training and that kind of thing. And I've got a couple of other Android devices including my network radios and things. So I wasn't too put off by that. And I did manage to get fairly cheap a little Samsung A23 Android phone with a USB-C connector. Now, when I say it's an advantage and a disadvantage, the advantages are that being a wired connection, it's able to process video quite quickly. And I've definitely seen the benefits of that, and I'll talk about that in a sec. The disadvantage is if you're not an Android user, you either need to become one and get yourself a second phone or find a different product. But, it's not, the cable's not bothering me. The Android phone isn't bothering me. So for me, it's not really a problem. So there is a cable coming out of the bottom of the camera module, which has a USB-C connector on the end. The cable is long enough that while wearing the headset, I can have the phone in my trouser pocket and the cable doesn't sort of get in my way at all. You use an app called ARX on your Android phone, and they call the headset ARX Wear. And you can set it so that as soon as you plug the headset in, it launches the app and starts the application up on the phone. And from there, all of the phone sound will come through the headset. The only drawback I've found with the headset itself is that the volume is a little bit low. They have gotten around it by allowing you to also have the sound come through your phone as well as the headset. If you had any kind of a hearing impairment, I don't think this would be the solution for you, unless you were to Bluetooth the phone to your hearing aids. But there's probably more elegant solutions for that. For what I want, it works quite well. So it comes up speaking, and you've got the triangle button is used to cycle through a number of different modes. So you have short text mode, which just recognizes whatever it can see in front of the camera. Document mode, which sort of takes a snapshot, sends it off to the cloud and processes it. You have a face recognition mode, a object finder type mode where you can specify a particular object, and there's a list of about 30 of them. There's things like backpack, suitcase, car, and yes, I do have a car, so that one kind of is useful. There's a scene detection mode where it'll just describe whatever it can see. And there's a QR code mode. And so far, I've tested most of them and found them to be pretty good. The text recognition was good. I didn't have any problem with that. And the accuracy was better than a couple of other things that I had tried. The object detection works quite well. So when you select the object detection mode, you then use the circle button to cycle through which object you want to look for. So if you specify toilet was one of the ones. If it can see that object in the view, it'll beep, and the closer you get to it, the more sort of earnestly it beeps at you. The QR code works. So what that does, it'll detect a QR code, and then it'll say press the circle button and to open the relevant web page on your phone, and then it hands off to your phone to do that. The one that's really impressed me, though, is the scene detection mode. Now, I did try, as a comparison, the Envision glasses as a side-by-side comparison, and the Envisions, when I walked out my front door, did their best impression of a crow. The only thing they would see was car, so just looked around and just kept saying car, car. That's why I say it did its best impression of a crow. You'll understand that if you've ever heard a crow. Anyway, I digress. But the ARX did quite a good job. It said things like a street with cars parked. It was bin day, so it was identifying a number of rubbish bins or trash cans. I turned around and looked from the road up towards the house, and it said a brick house, a car parked in a driveway, that sort of thing. There was some workmen doing some stuff over at the neighbour's place, and I looked over in that direction, and it said a man up a ladder. And they were definitely up on the roof, so that would make sense. So that, I thought, well, that's pretty good. So then I decided I would take it for a bit of a walk up to one of our favourite cafes, and just had it running in the background, and we're sort of getting a pretty good commentary, and I think this is the advantage of the wired connection, to be honest. I was getting a pretty good commentary of what was around. It was telling me about bushes and houses and trees and sunlight through the trees and some quite descriptive stuff. At one stage, it said a man riding a bicycle along a sidewalk, and I thought, no, I don't think so. And about 5 seconds later, I heard the bike go past. So, okay, it is there. But what really got me interested was when I went to walking along the block of shops towards the cafe, and it started to read things. It'd say things like a building with text that says Floss Family Dental, phone 3822-3303. And then it said a shop front with a rectangular sign and text saying Pizza Capers, www.pizzacapers.com.au. So it was really doing quite a good job of reading the signage. And I was a bit surprised by that, because I thought that you'd have to kind of identify the sign, then switch it into OCR mode and have it do that. But it was actually picking up the text as I was walking. So it gave me a pretty good idea of where things were. And I know that block of shops. So, the positioning was quite accurate. So it read the pizza thing as I was standing in front of Pizza Capers. So it's definitely pretty close to real time. I was crossing a street. It's a sort of a three-way intersection, but it's a roundabout. And there was a truck stopped at the roundabout so that I could cross, and it said a large white truck parked on a road. So, I was, for artificial intelligence, I've got to say I was pretty impressed with its scene detection mode, and the fact that I could operate the thing hands-free. I didn't have to intervene or touch the phone. It was just in my pocket. I mean, it probably chews a bit of data, but that's all right. Data's relatively cheap, at least in this country anyway. But yeah, the fact that it was giving me a pretty good real-time running commentary of everything that was around was actually quite exciting. And I know Mariam was quite pleased because she has had vision in the past. So she said, I actually kind of miss that. It did, and this is the problem with AI, it did give me some interesting results, one of which was I was walking past a building with a ColourBond fence. ColourBond is sort of corrugated, shiny metal. And the sun was obviously hitting the fence, and it said a metal fence with smoke coming out of it. And I couldn't smell any, so I'm pretty sure it was just the way the sunlight was hitting the thing. Also, our house has a big bay window on the front, and I was looking at that, and again, the afternoon sun was streaming in through the window, and it said, a small brick house with windows and a fire burning, and we don't have a fireplace. So that was a little disconcerting, but, I would say it was probably 70% accurate. So overall, quite pleased with it. Looking forward to getting Ira when that's released and available on that platform. But in the meantime, looking forward to doing a bit more testing. So I'll keep you posted over the next little while. I want to see if it'll read the LCD displays on my amateur radio equipment and things. I'm not particularly hopeful on that one, but I'm going to try over the weekend and put it through its paces a little bit more and see what happens. But that gives you a bit of an idea anyway of my first impressions of the ARX Vision headset. If you want to have a look at it yourself, www.arx.vision is the website. And it is a product that's in its infancy. I'm being an early adopter, which I'm normally not. I'm normally pretty conservative, but anyway, we'll see what happens. But I think it has a lot of potential to develop further. So overall, I'm pretty excited by it.